Alex had never thought he would share an apartment with an alien. Yet here he was, standing in the middle of his new living room, staring at Lyra as she floated slightly above the floor, her translucent skin glimmering softly in the late afternoon light. She looked almost human at first, with 2 arms, 2 legs, and a head shaped like his own. But there was something different about her. Her eyes were larger, golden and almost reflective, and her hair seemed to flow like liquid silver. "I have arranged the furniture according to optimal energy flow," Lyra said in a melodic voice, her words perfectly accented but slightly too formal. She gestured to the sparse apartment around them. "Humans often ignore environmental efficiency, but I wanted to enhance your comfort and productivity." Alex blinked. Thanks?" He wasn't sure whether to be impressed or terrified. He had been expecting a roommate who would maybe leave dishes in the sink or blast loud music. He wasn't expecting someone who looked like they had stepped out of a galactic research mission. Lyra tilted her head, studying him. "You seem surprised, human. Is my presence causing discomfort?" Alex laughed nervously. "I guess I wasn't expecting an alien to be my roommate. I thought you'd be, well, normal, human-like." Lyra floated a few inches higher, her gaze examining him like a scientist inspecting a sample. "Normality is subjective. I am here to study humans. Your daily life, habits, and behaviors are my primary objective." Alex ran a hand through his hair. "Study humans, like, for science?" "Yes," Lyra replied, nodding. "I am attempting to understand human physiology, social behavior, and emotional dynamics. I have read extensively, but direct observation provides greater accuracy." Alex sat down on the couch, unsure whether to be excited or scared. "So, you're like here to watch me?" Lyra floated closer, her expression calm. "Observation is necessary. I intend no harm. Your cooperation will yield accurate data." Alex chuckled. "Well, I guess we can try that. But fair warning, I'm not a scientist. That is irrelevant. Humans often underestimate the complexity of simple actions. Your behavior alone is a rich source of information," Lyra said, her tone neutral but curious. For the first few days, Alex watched as Lyra adapted to her new environment. She had a fascination for everything human: food, furniture, clothing, even soap. She would often spend hours examining how things worked. She asked questions like, "Why does this food taste sweet?" Or "Why do humans sleep for several hours at night instead of maintaining alertness?" At first, Alex found it amusing. He would try to answer her questions with simple explanations. Like, "We eat sweet food because it has energy," or "Sleep helps humans recharge their brains." Lyra would nod thoughtfully, occasionally taking notes in a small, glowing device she carried. But her curiosity wasn't limited to objects and routines. She seemed fascinated by human emotions. Alex noticed that Lyra would watch people in the park, at the coffee shop, or even on the bus, studying the way they smiled, argued, or comforted each other. She asked questions that made Alex think, sometimes deeply, about what it meant to be human. "Why do humans cry when they are happy?" Lyra asked one evening as they watched a viral video online of a family reunited at an airport. Alex shrugged. "I guess. Sometimes emotions are so strong that they spill over. Crying is one way to release them." Lyra's eyes shimmered. "Interesting. The human body uses multiple mechanisms to express and regulate internal states. This is far more complex than my initial calculations suggested." Alex laughed. "You really didn't expect humans to be complicated?" "No," she admitted. "I thought emotions would be simple responses to stimuli. Instead, humans often behave unpredictably. That is fascinating." Over the next week, Lyra asked more questions about human relationships. She wanted to understand friendships, romantic connections, family bonds, and even the way humans raise children. Alex, though initially uncomfortable, realized that her curiosity came from a place of genuine interest, not mischief. "You have siblings?" Lyra asked one evening while they prepared dinner together. She moved with precision, chopping vegetables at a speed and accuracy that made Alex slightly nervous. Yeah, 2, Alex said. "But I haven't seen them in a while." Lyra nodded thoughtfully. "Siblings often provide insight into cooperative behavior. I must observe such interactions to fully understand human social patterns." Alex smiled awkwardly. "Well, if you want to learn about humans, living with one is a start, I guess." Lyra's eyes glimmered. "Indeed, I wish to study human reproductive behavior next." Understanding how humans propagate the species will provide critical insight into your biology and societal structure. Alex froze mid-chop. Wait, reproductive behavior? That's a private, Lyra nodded earnestly. I understand the concept of privacy. I do not intend to intrude. Observation will be conducted ethically and hypothetically, through discussions, simulations, and safe experiments. Alex exhaled, trying not to laugh. Simulations? Okay. I guess I can answer questions, but keep it hypothetical, all right? Understood, Lyra said, her expression serious. Hypothetical study ensures minimal risk while maximizing knowledge acquisition. The next few days were a mixture of humor and learning. Lyra's attempts to understand human reproduction were completely theoretical, and often hilarious. She would ask questions like, why do humans kiss before mating? Or why are certain emotional bonds required for reproductive success? Alex would answer as best he could, sometimes exaggerating for humor, which seemed to delight her. One evening, they decided to simulate human parenting, not with actual children, of course, but through role-play games that explored trust, responsibility, and care. Lyra created a human family scenario in their living room, using stuffed animals as children. Alex had to act as the caregiver, and Lyra as the observer. This will provide insight into human bonding without real risk, Lyra explained. I will monitor emotional responses, decision-making, and ethical considerations. Alex couldn't help but laugh as Lyra meticulously recorded how he tried to teach the stuffed animals manners and teamwork. He pretended the toys were misbehaving, and Lyra noted every reaction. You are surprisingly gentle with them, Lyra observed. Gentleness is often correlated with successful human parenting. Your performance exceeds expectations. Alex shook his head. I think you're taking this way too seriously. Lyra tilted her head. Observation requires seriousness. Humor is noted as a secondary variable. Its impact on social bonding is significant. Despite the scientific tone, Alex found himself enjoying Lyra's company more and more. Her curiosity, innocence, and dedication to learning about humans made him reflect on his own life in ways he hadn't before. He noticed how ordinary acts like sharing a meal, laughing at a joke, or comforting someone were extraordinary when examined through Lyra's alien perspective. One night, after a long day of discussion and simulation, Lyra floated near the window staring at the city lights. Alex joined her, sipping a cup of tea. Do you ever get tired of observing? Alex asked. Lyra considered this. No, observation brings understanding. Understanding brings appreciation. Your species is remarkable. I did not expect such resilience, complexity, and emotional depth. Alex felt a warmth in his chest. I guess humans are pretty amazing. Even if we make a mess sometimes. Lyra smiled. Well, as much as an alien could. Yes, even messes are informative. They reveal patterns, habits, and adaptation strategies. As the night grew quiet, Alex realized that living with Lyra was already changing him. He felt more aware of the small details, more patient, and more fascinated by human connections. Lyra, for her part, continued to float by, silently absorbing the subtleties of human life. The first part of their journey had ended, but both knew this was only the beginning. Lyra's quest to understand human reproduction, ethically, hypothetically, and with respect, would soon lead to more experiments, more questions, and more discoveries. Alex, though slightly apprehensive, felt a growing excitement. Living with an alien roommate wasn't what he had expected, but it was proving to be one of the most enlightening experiences of his life. By the time Alex went to bed that night, he reflected on the week. He thought about how unusual it was to have a roommate from another world, how strange yet fascinating it was to answer questions about something so deeply human, and how much he had already learned about himself simply by explaining his life to someone completely unfamiliar with it. Lyra, still floating in the living room, activated a small recording device. Day 7 of human observation complete, she whispered to herself. The subject demonstrates emotional resilience and adaptive behavior. Further study of reproductive practices, ethical social simulations, and emotional bonding recommended. Human species exceeds prior calculations. Alex, oblivious to her whisper, drifted to sleep, dreaming of glowing alien eyes watching him with curiosity, but not judgment, only fascination. And in that moment, the human and the alien shared a quiet understanding. Two beings from different worlds, learning from each other, discovering the extraordinary in the ordinary. After the first week, Alex and Lyra had settled into an unusual routine. Lyra's curiosity about humans had grown stronger, and she now wanted to explore human culture beyond the apartment. Her fascination wasn't just scientific, it was, "Today we will observe human social behavior outside controlled environments," Lyra announced one morning, her voice calm but excited. "Interaction in public provides data on cooperation, conflict resolution, and emotional expression," Alex laughed. "In other words, we're going to the park and the cafe again. Big deal." Lyra tilted her head, the golden light of her eyes catching the morning sun. "Do not underestimate the complexity of human interaction. Even mundane events reveal layers of behavior previously undocumented." Alex shrugged. "All right, lead the way, Professor." They left the apartment and walked into the busy streets of the city. Lyra's gaze moved constantly, analyzing people as if she had never seen humans before. She observed a mother calming a crying toddler, a couple arguing over directions, and a street performer entertaining a crowd. Every gesture, every word, every expression fascinated her. "Why does that child cry so loudly?" she asked, pointing toward the toddler. Alex smiled. "Babies cry to express needs. Hunger, discomfort, or fear, they can't speak, so they cry." Lyra nodded slowly. "I see." And the mother responds with physical contact, vocal modulation, and emotional reassurance. Fascinating combination of instinct and learned behavior. Alex chuckled. "You're taking notes on everything, huh?" "Yes. Every human interaction provides insight into survival strategies and social cohesion," she said. "Even the minor conflicts and emotional outbursts are informative." They continued walking until they reached a small cafe. Lyra observed the patrons while they ordered drinks. When their coffees arrived, she carefully held her cup, studying the temperature, aroma, and taste with delicate precision. "Humans often rely on stimulants for mental performance," she said, taking a small sip. "The ritual of consumption appears to enhance social engagement as well." Alex raised an eyebrow. "You're analyzing coffee, really?" "Yes," she replied earnestly. "Observation of small behaviors often yields the clearest understanding of a species' daily life." Their conversation turned to more personal topics. Lyra asked Alex about his family, his childhood, and his relationships. Alex found himself opening up more than he normally would. He realized that Lyra's curiosity, combined with her innocence and honesty, made it easy to share without fear of judgment. "I grew up in a small town," Alex said, stirring his coffee. "Life was simple. People helped each other, but they also had their secrets." "I guess humans are complicated," Lyra nodded. "Complications are often indicators of adaptation. Humans seem capable of navigating emotional and social networks with impressive skill." Alex laughed. "I don't know if I'd call it skill. Sometimes it feels more like chaos." Lyra's eyes gleamed. "Chaos can also be a source of resilience. You adapt to unexpected events, survive, and maintain social bonds. That is remarkable." The cafe visit led them to a nearby park. Lyra observed humans interacting in groups, children playing and couples walking hand in hand. She even tried joining a small game of frisbee, her movements precise yet oddly fluid, almost like she was floating just above the ground. "You move differently," Alex commented, tossing the frisbee toward her. "It is necessary to minimize energy expenditure while maximizing accuracy," she said, catching it effortlessly. "Human biomechanics are less efficient, but your species compensates with creativity and strategy." Alex laughed. "You really think humans are inefficient?" "In comparison to my species, yes," Lyra admitted. "However, your species' unpredictability and ingenuity often counterbalance these inefficiencies." As the day went on, Lyra's focus shifted from observation to participation. She wanted to experience the human way of life firsthand. They tried local foods, participated in small games, and even helped a lost child find her parents. Alex watched as Lyra's alien perspective transformed even ordinary actions into fascinating discoveries. "You humans are cooperative and altruistic," Lyra said as they returned the child safely. "Despite individual weaknesses, you often act for the benefit of the group. This is an essential trait for survival and prosperity." Alex smiled. "You're learning fast. Maybe faster than most humans." Lyra's golden eyes gleamed. "Observation alone is insufficient. Participation accelerates understanding. That evening, back at their apartment, Lyra turned her attention to human customs regarding relationships and family life. She had read about mating, reproduction, and parenting, but now she wanted to understand how humans bonded emotionally. "I wish to study human attachment in controlled settings," she explained. "Hypothetical simulations will allow me to understand loyalty, trust, and protective instincts." Alex hesitated. "Attachment, you mean like friendships and family?" "Yes," Lyra said. "I am not referring to reproduction at this stage. Only the social and emotional connections humans form to ensure survival and well-being." Over the next few days, Lyra designed several human bonding exercises that they could simulate together. These included cooperative problem-solving games, caregiving role-plays, and trust-building challenges. Alex participated eagerly, though he often found the exercises amusing. In one exercise, Alex and Lyra pretended to be parents raising a human child, a robot doll programmed to simulate infant behavior. Lyra meticulously recorded how Alex responded to the child's needs, noting patterns in problem-solving, patience, and emotional response. "You are surprisingly nurturing," Lyra observed. "Gentleness, patience, and adaptability correlate with successful human parenting." "Your performance exceeds expectations," Alex shrugged. "I guess I've learned a thing or two from my own family." Lyra's gaze softened. "Family structures are fascinating. Humans display a variety of strategies, from nuclear units to extended communities. Emotional investment and cooperation are common themes across cultures." As they continued the exercises, Alex began to notice changes in Lyra's understanding of humans. She was no longer just observing, she was empathizing. Her questions shifted from purely scientific to more reflective. "Why do humans value companionship so deeply?" she asked one evening. Alex thought for a moment. "I think humans are social creatures. We survive better when we work together. But it's more than survival. Companionship makes life meaningful." Lyra considered this. "Meaningful experiences often drive behavior more than mere survival." This adds a layer of complexity I had not anticipated. Their discussions became a mix of humor and insight. Alex sometimes joked about human habits while Lyra analyzed them seriously, often drawing conclusions that made Alex think twice about his own species. "You humans laugh at so many things that seem trivial," Lyra noted during one session. "Yet laughter strengthens bonds and improves health. Efficiency is not always about work, it includes leisure." Alex nodded. "Exactly. Life isn't just about surviving. It's about living." By the end of part 2, both Alex and Lyra had grown. Alex had a renewed appreciation for his own species, seeing the ordinary in extraordinary ways through Lyra's eyes. Lyra, in turn, had begun to understand humans not just as biological entities but as emotional, social, and creative beings. Their bond had deepened into a genuine friendship, built on trust, curiosity, and respect. Lyra's fascination with human life was no longer limited to observation. She was beginning to experience it, share it, and even feel it. As they sat on the couch that night, sipping tea and reviewing their notes from the day, Lyra spoke softly. "Observation has provided insight. Participation has provided understanding. But reflection has provided appreciation. Humans are remarkable," Alex smiled. "I think that's the nicest thing anyone has ever said about humans, alien or otherwise." Lyra tilted her head, considering his words. "It is fact. Your species demonstrates adaptability, creativity, and emotional depth that surpass initial expectations. My study is yielding data far beyond my original hypothesis." Alex laughed. "Well, I guess that's a win for humanity then." Lyra's gaze lingered on him, her golden eyes glowing faintly in the dim light. "Perhaps, but it is also a win for understanding. Knowledge without appreciation is incomplete. I am learning not just how humans function, but why they are extraordinary." Alex felt a sense of pride. He had never thought of himself as remarkable. But with Lyra's perspective, even his small actions seemed meaningful. The friendship between human and alien had grown into something greater than either had anticipated, a bridge between two worlds, built on curiosity, respect, and genuine connection. As the night deepened, Lyra floated silently near the window, staring at the city lights. Alex watched her for a moment, realizing how lucky he was to witness her journey of discovery firsthand. Tomorrow would bring more experiments, more observations, and more lessons about humanity. But for now, he simply enjoyed the quiet, the companionship, and the realization that life, even with an alien roommate, could be fascinating beyond imagination. And somewhere in the back of his mind, Alex knew this was only the beginning. Lyra's curiosity about humans was far from satisfied. Her questions about life, bonding, and survival would soon take them to new challenges, new discoveries, and even deeper understanding of what it truly meant to be human. By the third week of living together, Alex had grown used to Lyra's alien presence, though her curiosity still kept him on his toes. Lyra's interest in human social bonds had expanded beyond observation and simulations. She now wanted to test human problem-solving in dynamic situations. She believed that real challenges would reveal deeper truths about humans, particularly their intelligence, creativity, and adaptability. "Alex," Lyra said one morning, her golden eyes shining with purpose, "today we will conduct an advanced social experiment. We will simulate a survival scenario to observe resource management, decision-making, and cooperative strategies." Alex blinked. "A survival scenario? Like pretend survival?" "Yes," Lyra replied. "No risk of harm will occur. All elements are controlled. The objective is to analyze human responses to stress, scarcity, and problem-solving." Alex couldn't help but laugh. "Okay. Lead the way, Professor." Lyra guided him to a nearby community park that featured a large wooded area. She had brought a backpack full of props, a set of puzzles, ropes, mock tools, and several small containers of food. Alex was still unsure how seriously to take this, but Lyra's expression made it clear she expected him to participate fully. "First, we will establish a base of operations," Lyra instructed. "Humans demonstrate efficiency in spatial organization. Your approach to base construction will provide insight into planning and prioritization." Alex groaned. "Base construction? In the park?" "Yes. Efficiency and innovation are key variables in human survival," Lyra said, her tone calm but firm. "Please begin." Reluctantly, Alex began arranging the props as Lyra directed. She floated nearby, analyzing every movement, every choice, and every method he used to organize the area. She occasionally offered suggestions, which Alex either followed or ignored, depending on his sense of humor. "Your organizational method prioritizes accessibility over security," Lyra noted. "This is efficient in normal conditions but suboptimal if threats are present." Alex laughed. "Well, we're not in the middle of a zombie apocalypse. It's just a park." Lyra tilted her head. "Hypothetical threats are useful in assessing adaptability." Once their base was ready, Lyra presented the first challenge, a series of puzzles that required coordination, communication, and creative thinking. Alex quickly realized that the puzzles were more complicated than they appeared, demanding not only logical thinking but also collaboration. "This will test human problem-solving under pressure," Lyra explained. "Observe how stress impacts decision-making." Alex nodded and got to work. Lyra floated nearby, carefully noting his strategies. She was fascinated by his approach. He combined trial and error with careful reasoning, all while maintaining a sense of humor. "You humans use humor as a coping mechanism," Lyra said, almost to herself. "It mitigates stress, improves focus, and strengthens social bonds. Remarkable." After successfully completing the puzzles, Lyra introduced the next stage, resource management. She gave Alex several containers of food and water, explaining that they had to ration them over a hypothetical 7-day survival period. Alex took the challenge seriously, carefully planning meals, monitoring quantities, and adjusting strategies as he imagined different scenarios. "Impressive," Lyra observed. "You demonstrate foresight, flexibility, and prioritization. Humans excel in dynamic resource allocation." Alex laughed. "I guess surviving on Earth has its advantages. I've done enough camping to know a few tricks." Lyra's eyes glimmered. "Practical experience enhances innate intelligence. Observation alone cannot replicate this depth of knowledge. The final stage involves simulated rescue operations." Lyra injured a small mannequin and asked Alex to carry it to safety, navigate obstacles, and ensure both he and the mannequin remained unharmed. Alex realized the exercise tested his physical endurance, spatial awareness, and problem-solving skills all at once. "You move with caution, yet efficiency," Lyra remarked. Humans display a remarkable combination of physical and cognitive abilities in coordinated tasks. Alex couldn't help but grin. I think you're enjoying this more than I am. Lyra paused for a moment, considering. Enjoyment is not the primary objective. Observation and data acquisition are. However, engagement increases accuracy and insight. By the end of the day, both were exhausted but exhilarated. Alex had learned that even simulated challenges could reveal much about human creativity, resilience, and intelligence. Lyra, in turn, had collected a wealth of data about problem-solving, decision-making, and stress management. As they walked home, Alex asked, "Do you ever get tired of observing humans?" Lyra considered this. Observation is endless. Humans are diverse, adaptable, and complex. Every interaction provides new insight. Fatigue is minimal compared to the value of knowledge. Alex laughed. I'll take that as a compliment. Back in the apartment, Lyra turned her attention to human bonding once again. She wanted to explore emotional dynamics in small groups. Alex agreed to help by organizing a team activity with some of his friends. When his friends arrived, Lyra observed closely. She noted how trust was built, how leaders emerged, how conflict was resolved, and how cooperation led to success. Her fascination grew as she realized humans could navigate complex social structures with little formal instruction. Humans rely on intuition, experience, and communication in ways more sophisticated than previously calculated, she said. Hierarchy, empathy, and negotiation all function simultaneously to achieve collective goals. Alex watched her closely. You sound like a teacher giving a lecture. Lyra's lips twitched. Observation requires precise articulation. Accuracy is essential. During one activity, a minor disagreement arose among Alex's friends. Lyra carefully observed as Alex mediated, listening to both sides, finding compromise, and maintaining group cohesion. She recorded notes on emotional intelligence, communication strategies, and leadership. You handle conflict effectively, she remarked. Humans possess natural mechanisms for resolving disputes that balance logic and emotion. This is highly efficient for social survival. Alex smiled. Thanks. I guess growing up with siblings helps. Lyra's golden eyes glimmered with understanding. Family dynamics appear to have profound influence on emotional intelligence and social skills. Fascinating. After his friends left, Alex and Lyra reflected on the day's lessons. Alex felt proud of how humans could cooperate, adapt, and solve problems under pressure. Lyra, meanwhile, realized that humans were not only intelligent, but emotionally resilient, capable of empathy, creativity, and strategy all at once. I am beginning to understand more than I anticipated, Lyra said softly. Humans are not merely biological organisms. They are thinkers, creators, and empathizers. Your species possesses a depth I had not predicted. Alex laughed. It sounds like you're writing a very glowing report about humans. Lyra's eyes glimmered. Accuracy demands recognition of merit. Data must reflect reality, not expectation. Humans exceed calculated potential in multiple areas. That night, Alex prepared dinner while Lyra continued her study of human culture. She observed how he cooked, how he tasted, how he adjusted recipes. She asked questions about flavor, nutrition, and tradition. Alex explained that food wasn't just sustenance, it was culture, comfort, and creativity. You humans combine function and emotion in your culinary practices, Lyra noted. Meals are more than survival, they are experience and connection. Remarkable. Alex smiled. You're learning fast. Maybe you'll teach me a thing or two about alien food next. Lyra's lips curved slightly. That is an intriguing proposal. Cultural exchange enhances understanding of species-specific survival strategies. As the evening ended, both sat quietly in the living room. Alex marveled at how much he had learned about himself and humanity through Lyra's eyes. Lyra, in turn, marveled at how humans could balance logic, emotion, creativity, and cooperation in ways that were both efficient and unpredictable. I believe we have made significant progress, Lyra said finally. Observation, participation, and reflection have provided insights far beyond initial expectations. Human resilience and adaptability are extraordinary. Alex nodded. Yeah, humans are pretty amazing when you look at it that way. Lyra's golden eyes reflected the soft glow of the apartment lights. I am beginning to appreciate not only the mechanics of humanity, but the essence of it. Survival is one aspect, but the choice to care, to laugh, to cooperate, to love, this defines your species. Alex felt a warmth he couldn't quite explain. He realized that living with Lyra had changed his perspective, making him more aware of the depth, complexity, and beauty of human life. And as he drifted to sleep that night, he knew that their journey was far from over. Lyra's curiosity had only grown stronger. Her questions about humans, social bonds, and emotional intelligence would soon take them into new territories of learning, understanding, and perhaps even deeper friendship. As the weeks passed, Alex and Lyra had formed a unique rhythm. Lyra's curiosity about humans had deepened beyond observation and simulation. She now wanted to understand the emotional layers that connected humans: friendship, trust, loyalty, and compassion. Her earlier studies had focused on survival skills and social behavior, but now she was ready to explore the subtleties of human emotions. "Alex," Lyra said one morning, her golden eyes reflecting determination. "Today we will explore human emotional response and interpersonal challenges. Understanding these reactions is essential for a complete study of human social structure." Alex stretched, still half asleep. "Emotional response? Like talking about feelings?" Lyra tilted her head, analyzing him. "Not merely talking. Interaction, problem-solving, empathy, and trust-building under varied conditions. Experiential learning rather than hypothetical observation." Alex sighed, knowing that Lyra's experiments were always far more elaborate than he anticipated. "All right. What do you have in mind this time?" Lyra floated toward the kitchen counter, where she had set up several envelopes containing small challenges for them to solve together. Each challenge required cooperation, communication, and emotional engagement. Alex examined the envelopes, noticing that they ranged from riddles to tasks involving moral decisions, storytelling, and teamwork. "This is going to be interesting," Alex said with a grin. "All right, let's start." The first challenge involved a storytelling exercise. Each of them had to recount a personal experience that shaped them, and then they had to explain how that experience influenced their decisions or behavior. Alex began, sharing a memory from his childhood, a time when he had helped a friend who had been bullied. "I realized that standing up for others, even when it's hard, matters more than staying safe," Alex said. Lyra listened intently, her golden eyes focused. When Alex finished, she shared her own story, adapted from her life on her home planet. Though it was entirely alien in context, the emotional resonance was universal, a tale of loyalty, sacrifice, and learning to trust others despite fear. "Your emotional depth is significant," Lyra observed. "Humans often combine memory, empathy, and foresight to navigate social complexities. This is far more intricate than initial models suggested." Alex smiled, feeling that strange warmth that came when someone truly understood you. "I think you're finally starting to get humans, not just the biology, but the heart of it." Lyra's expression was thoughtful. "Emotional understanding is crucial. Survival alone is insufficient for true species success. Adaptability, compassion, and cooperation define a culture's resilience." The next challenge involved cooperation under stress. Lyra had hidden several small objects around the apartment and created a map with riddles leading to each object. Alex had to solve the riddles, but only with Lyra's guidance. She could give hints, but she wasn't allowed to hand over the answers directly. Alex groaned. "This sounds like a treasure hunt." Lyra's lips twitched. "Observation will reveal problem-solving, patience, communication skills, and emotional regulation. Humans must often balance frustration and persistence." They moved through the apartment, following clues and navigating small obstacles. Alex was sometimes frustrated, sometimes amused, and occasionally surprised by how clever Lyra's hints were. Lyra, meanwhile, meticulously noted how Alex's emotions influenced his decision-making, how he handled setbacks, celebrated minor successes, and adapted to unexpected challenges. "You demonstrate remarkable patience under stress," Lyra remarked. "Even when frustrated, you reassess strategies rather than abandon them. Emotional control is a critical survival mechanism." Alex laughed. "I guess humans are tougher than they look." Lyra's golden eyes sparkled. "Indeed. Resilience manifests in both physical and emotional realms. Your species excels in balancing the two." Later in the day, Lyra introduced an empathy exercise. She brought out several short stories about human struggles, including accounts of friendship, loss, and triumph. Alex had to read them aloud, and Lyra analyzed his emotional responses, tone, and expressions. Then Lyra shared her own alien stories, and Alex had to interpret her reactions and feelings. "This is harder than it sounds," Alex admitted, feeling the depth of the emotions embedded in the stories. "Complexity is intentional," Lyra said. "Human emotions are multifaceted. Understanding them requires active participation, reflection, and interpretation." By the end of the exercise, Alex felt both drained and exhilarated. He realized that emotional intelligence was as important as problem-solving or physical endurance in human life. Lyra, too, gained a new appreciation for the subtleties of human connections, the nuances that could not be quantified in charts or graphs. As evening approached, Lyra suggested a cooperative cooking session. She wanted to observe Alex's creativity, planning, and teamwork while preparing a meal. Alex agreed, knowing that their cooking sessions often turned into lessons about culture, tradition, and collaboration. Efficiency and taste are both objectives, Lyra noted as they chopped vegetables and mixed ingredients. Humans integrate sensory evaluation with procedural knowledge. Culinary practice is an elegant display of multitasking. Alex laughed. "You really make cooking sound like rocket science." "It is a combination of art, science, and social bonding," Lyra replied. "Meals strengthen relationships, convey care, and reinforce trust." As they cooked, they talked about their personal goals, fears, and dreams. Alex realized that he could share things with Lyra that he hadn't told anyone else. Lyra's alien perspective made ordinary human experiences seem extraordinary, and he found himself appreciating the small, everyday moments more deeply. Once the meal was ready, they sat down to eat. Lyra observed Alex's expressions, body language, and choices as he tasted the food. Alex, in turn, watched her carefully, noting how she savored flavors, tested textures, and occasionally tilted her head as if analyzing every bite. "You humans derive pleasure and connection from shared meals," Lyra remarked. "This behavior strengthens social bonds and promotes cooperation. The act of eating together is more than sustenance, it is an emotional and social ritual." Alex nodded. "Exactly. Food is culture. Food is comfort. And sharing it, well, it makes everything better." After dinner, they moved to a quiet corner of the living room for reflection. Lyra wanted to discuss the day's exercises and analyze the results. She asked Alex how he had felt during the challenges and what strategies he had used to manage stress, frustration, and cooperation. "I realized today that humans aren't just smart or strong," Alex admitted. "We're adaptable. We learn from mistakes, we help each other, and we find ways to keep going even when things are tough. Emotional strength is just as important as physical strength." Lyra's eyes glimmered. "Precisely. Resilience is multifaceted. Humans combine intellect, emotion, and social cooperation in ways that are difficult to replicate. Your species demonstrates ingenuity not only in survival but in thriving as a collective." Alex smiled. "I guess that's the HFY part, right? Humans standing out, being capable of more than anyone expects." Lyra's expression softened. "Indeed. Observation alone would not have revealed the depth of your species. Participation, reflection, and emotional engagement provide a complete understanding. Humans are remarkable not only for survival, but for their ability to create meaning, trust, and connection." The night grew quiet as Alex and Lyra sat together. Alex realized that living with an alien had changed him. He saw humanity in a new light, appreciating the ordinary gestures, the acts of kindness, the cooperation, and the emotional strength that often went unnoticed. Lyra, too, had changed. She had begun to understand not just human biology and behavior, but the essence of human experience: empathy, trust, loyalty, and emotional resilience. Her study had evolved from detached observation to deep appreciation. "Alex," Lyra said softly, "my study has progressed beyond initial expectations. Humans are more than data points. They are thinkers, creators, collaborators, and empathizers. Their complexity is both profound and inspiring." Alex chuckled. "Wow, you really like humans, huh?" Lyra's golden eyes gleamed. "I admire your species. Observation, participation, and reflection reveal potential beyond initial calculation. Humans are extraordinary in subtle and profound ways." Alex felt a warmth in his chest. He had never considered himself remarkable, but with Lyra's perspective, he realized that even small acts, helping a friend, solving a problem, sharing a meal, were part of what made humans extraordinary. As he went to bed that night, Alex reflected on the day. He thought about how far he and Lyra had come, from cautious cohabitation to active participation, from observation to understanding, from curiosity to admiration. He realized that their journey had transformed not just Lyra's understanding of humans, but his own understanding of himself. Lyra, still floating near the window, activated her recording device. Day 21 of Human Study complete. Observation and participation reveal advanced emotional, cognitive, and social skills. Humans demonstrate resilience, empathy, creativity, and adaptability. Further study recommended to explore deeper interpersonal connections and advanced emotional dynamics. Outside, the city lights twinkled, reflecting in Lyra's golden eyes. Inside, Alex drifted to sleep, dreaming of puzzles, stories, meals, and shared laughter. He felt a quiet excitement, knowing that the next phase of Lyra's study would uncover even more insights into the remarkable species he belonged to. Their partnership had become more than observation. It was now mutual growth. Alex was learning about himself through Lyra's perspective, and Lyra was learning about humanity through Alex's actions, choices, and heart. And in that quiet apartment, on that ordinary night, two beings from entirely different worlds had formed an extraordinary connection, proving that understanding, respect, and curiosity could bridge even the widest gaps. The next morning, the apartment was quiet except for the soft hum of the city outside. Alex was sipping his coffee when Lyra floated down from her observation perch near the window, her golden eyes reflecting both thoughtfulness and excitement. "Alex," she said, her voice calm but filled with purpose, "today marks the final phase of my human study. We will review all observations, interactions, and exercises to determine the full extent of human capability in social, cognitive, and emotional realms." Alex raised an eyebrow, already sensing that this final phase would be anything but simple. "Final phase, huh? Sounds serious." Lyra tilted her head. "Seriousness is a prerequisite for accurate analysis. Data integrity must be maintained to ensure conclusive results." Alex sighed with a grin. "All right, lead the way, Professor." Lyra guided him to the living room, which she had transformed into a controlled simulation zone. Every corner was meticulously organized with props, charts, and puzzles. She had even arranged several role-playing scenarios that combined survival, social negotiation, and emotional intelligence. "The goal," Lyra explained, "is to synthesize all skills observed: problem-solving, resource management, cooperation, trust, emotional understanding, and adaptive creativity. Humans must demonstrate holistic competence." Alex nodded. "So basically, a grand human challenge?" "Yes," Lyra replied, floating above the floor. "Simulation accuracy depends on challenge complexity and multivariable integration. You will navigate scenarios sequentially, applying all previously learned skills." The first scenario involved a simulated natural disaster. Lyra had set up miniature obstacles representing fallen structures, blocked paths, and scattered resources. Alex had to plan evacuation routes, prioritize resource allocation, and ensure survivor safety. Lyra observed closely, taking notes on his decision-making, efficiency, and adaptability under pressure. Alex carefully directed the scenario, moving props and coordinating imaginary survivors. He made mistakes, adapted quickly, and improvised solutions when obstacles blocked his original plans. Lyra's golden eyes glimmered with interest. "You humans possess remarkable adaptability," she remarked. "Even when confronted with unexpected variables, you reassess priorities and implement alternative strategies. This level of cognitive flexibility is superior to initial expectations." Alex chuckled. "I guess I'm more prepared for disasters than I realized." Next, Lyra introduced a negotiation scenario. She acted as a rival group seeking scarce resources. Alex had to negotiate terms, balance diplomacy and assertiveness, and prevent conflict escalation. "Observe," Lyra instructed herself, "how humans navigate cooperation, empathy, and strategic thinking simultaneously." Alex approached the task carefully. He spoke with calm authority, listened attentively, and found solutions that satisfied both sides. Lyra noted subtle behaviors, tone modulation, body language, and adaptability that indicated emotional intelligence and negotiation skill. "Human communication is both verbal and nonverbal," Lyra commented. Coordination of both forms is crucial for resolving complex social conflicts. Your species excels in maintaining balance between logic and emotion. Alex laughed softly. Thanks. I guess humans do have some hidden strengths. The final part of the simulation focused on emotional resilience and empathy. Lyra presented several emotionally charged situations. A family in crisis, a friend experiencing fear, and a community divided by misunderstanding. Alex had to respond appropriately, providing comfort, guidance, and cooperation strategies. This will test emotional intelligence, patience, and social leadership, Lyra explained. Humans often display unique capabilities in these areas that are difficult to quantify but essential for survival. Alex navigated each scenario with care. He listened attentively, offered reassurance, and guided the group toward unity and understanding. Lyra watched closely, noting his tone, expressions, and the effectiveness of his actions. You humans exhibit profound empathy and emotional resilience, Lyra observed. Your ability to interpret needs, respond appropriately, and maintain composure under stress is extraordinary. Emotional strength rivals physical and cognitive abilities in importance. After completing all scenarios, Alex collapsed onto the couch, exhausted but exhilarated. Lyra floated beside him, her golden eyes glowing faintly. Analysis complete, she said. The collected data confirms the hypothesis. Humans possess exceptional capabilities across cognitive, emotional, and social domains. Your species demonstrates resilience, adaptability, creativity, empathy, and cooperation at levels that exceed initial calculations. Alex smiled, catching his breath. So, humans are pretty amazing, huh? Lyra nodded. Extraordinary. Your species balances intellect, emotion, and social dynamics in ways that ensure not only survival, but thriving communities. Humans create meaning, foster relationships, and adapt to unforeseen circumstances with remarkable efficiency. Alex leaned back, reflecting on everything they had done together. He realized how much he had learned about himself and humanity through Lyra's experiments and observations. Every challenge, every exercise, every conversation had revealed a new layer of what it meant to be human. I never realized how complex humans really are, he admitted. We take a lot for granted. Lyra's expression softened. Complexity is a hallmark of adaptive intelligence. Humans are more than data points. They are creators, collaborators, and empathizers. Understanding requires both observation and participation, as you have experienced. Alex chuckled. I feel like I've been your research assistant, alien professor. Lyra tilted her head. You have contributed significantly to accurate data collection. Your participation has allowed for insights beyond theoretical study. Human behavior is best understood through interaction, not mere observation. As the evening progressed, they moved to quieter exercises. Lyra wanted to explore the subtle ways humans connect, shared humor, small acts of kindness, and unspoken understanding. Alex participated eagerly, recognizing that these exercises were less about formal observation and more about emotional resonance. During one exercise, Lyra and Alex watched a short human film together. The story was simple: friendship, loss, and redemption, but the emotions it evoked were complex. Alex laughed, cried, and reflected. Lyra observed every micro-expression, every gesture, and every response. Emotional engagement is multi-layered, Lyra said softly. Humans process narrative, empathy, and moral reasoning simultaneously. Emotional resonance is both instinctual and learned, creating connections that strengthen social bonds. Alex smiled. You're really getting humans, Lyra. It's impressive. Lyra tilted her head, considering. Impressive, accurate, extraordinary. Your species' combination of creativity, logic, empathy, and resilience is unparalleled in my experience. After the film, Alex suggested a quiet walk outside. The city was calm at night and the streets were dotted with soft lights. Lyra followed, floating slightly above the ground, observing humans in their natural environment. They saw couples walking hand in hand, friends sharing laughter, and strangers helping one another. Even in ordinary moments, Lyra said, humans display resilience, cooperation, and emotional depth. The subtleties of interaction reveal a species both adaptive and compassionate. Alex nodded. That's what makes humans special. We survive, but we also care. We build, we love, we connect. Lyra's golden eyes met his. Observation alone cannot capture the full essence. Participation, reflection, and empathy are required. Humans are extraordinary because of both action and intention. As they returned to the apartment, Lyra floated silently near the window, gazing at the city lights. Alex prepared a simple tea and they sat together, reflecting on the journey they had shared. "Alex," Lyra said quietly, "my study is complete, yet I have learned more than data can describe. Humans are not only capable, they are remarkable in thought, emotion, and social complexity. You personally exemplify the qualities that define your species at its best." Alex felt a warmth in his chest. "Thanks, Lyra. You've taught me to see myself and my species differently. I guess humans really are extraordinary." Lyra's lips curved slightly. "Recognition is essential to understanding. Humans exceed theoretical limits in adaptability, empathy, creativity, and cooperation. Your species is exceptional." For the first time, there was a quiet pause. No experiments, no challenges, no simulations. Just two beings from entirely different worlds sharing a moment of understanding and respect. Alex realized that living with Lyra had changed him. He saw human life in a new light, appreciating the ordinary gestures, acts of kindness, cooperation, and emotional resilience that often went unnoticed. Lyra, too, had changed. She had gone from a detached observer to an active participant who understood the intricacies of human emotion and behavior. Her study had evolved into appreciation, respect, and perhaps even friendship. As night fell, Alex and Lyra sat in the living room, watching the city below. The apartment was filled with a quiet warmth, a sense of accomplishment, and the knowledge that their journey together had reached a meaningful conclusion. "Humans are remarkable," Lyra said softly, her voice carrying more emotion than usual. "And your species continues to surprise me. Observation, participation, reflection. These reveal not just capability but essence. Humans thrive because they care, adapt, and persevere." Alex nodded. "Yeah, and I think we just scratched the surface. There's so much more to discover about us, and I guess you too." Lyra's golden eyes softened. "Perhaps. Knowledge is endless. Observation and participation reveal infinite layers. Yet even at this stage, the complexity and beauty of humans are undeniable." Alex smiled. "Well, here's to humans and maybe aliens too." Lyra tilted her head, considering. "Agreed. To understanding, collaboration, and mutual growth. Your species has given me insights I could not have gained elsewhere." And in that quiet apartment under the soft glow of city lights, two beings from different worlds sat together, not as researcher and subject, but as companions united by curiosity, respect, and discovery. They had learned from each other, grown together, and discovered that understanding and connection could bridge even the greatest distances between worlds. It was the end of the study, but the beginning of a lifelong journey of learning, friendship, and mutual respect. Lyra had understood humans, but in doing so, she had also helped Alex understand himself, his species, and the extraordinary potential that lay in ordinary moments, ordinary actions, and the extraordinary heart of humanity. And as Alex finally turned off the lights and drifted to sleep, he knew that life with an alien roommate had taught him lessons that went far beyond science. Lessons about empathy, resilience, cooperation, and the power of truly understanding another being, no matter how different they might be.